Hi, I'm Hannah.
I'm Megan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, why have you come in to see me today?
Well, the past week I've been noticing serious stomach issues, and so I went to my doctor and he ran a few tests, and it turns out that I have celiac disease. So he wanted me to come here and talk to you about food and all that stuff.
Okay. So how are you feeling today?
Today I feel okay. Yesterday I felt really, really sick
Mm-hmm.
with my stomach and everything, but today is much better.
Okay. That's good. Do you know anything about celiac disease?
I basically know it's the whole gluten situation, but I don't really know he didn't go into too much, specifically what it was.
Okay. And do you want me to go into, the biology behind it?
Sure. Whatever you want to give me, to learn about it. I would like to kind of know more about it than just...
Okay. Well, pretty much what celiac disease is that whenever you consume gluten, which is a protein that's found in wheat and barley and rye and things like that, whenever you consume that, what happens in your intestine usually looks like this with the villi. These are the things that absorb all of your nutrients and things like that. And what happens is whenever gluten hits your intestine is it just kind of everything flattens out. So everything's moving through so quickly that you're not absorbing very much at all. But that's pretty much what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People can either be they'll be constipated, or they'll have diarrhea all the time, or sometimes they just won't have any kind of difference in the ways that they go to the bathroom. But that's the way that is. Let's see if there's anything else you'd like to know.
So just if I just cut out gluten, is that it'll kind of...
Yeah, and that'll take care of your issues.
Okay.
And a lot of the times, you'll actually help heal the damage that's been done, because it's inflamed is what happens whenever your intestine is always it's just inflamed and it's sore. So what happens whenever you have the gluten, or the gluten-free diet, is that you're just cutting out the gluten, so your sensitivity to it or the inflammation is just going to go down, and it's going to start healing. And so usually in adults it's 2 to 3 years sometimes whenever it's completely healed up.
Okay.
But you'll have celiac disease the rest of your life. So this is something that you're going to have to pay attention to for a long time.
Okay.
Does that scare you? Or is that...
a little bit, but I understand it's...
Yeah.
I'm coming to terms with it, and I just want to, be able to get used to the lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And just feel better.
And it'll be easier because, once you start on the diet, you'll be feeling so much better, and you'll just be getting all the nutrients and things that you need. But I think that's something that a way to look at it is that you're getting better. You're not giving up all these foods, but you're just really making your body healthier and things like that. So, why don't you write down what you had to eat yesterday, and we'll go through things that contain gluten and things like that.
Okay.
We'll just point them out. And
let's see. For breakfast, I had eggs, and I had some sausage.
Okay.
And I had a glass of orange juice.
Okay.
And then for lunch, I had Chick-fil-A. I had the sandwich.
Okay.
And the fries. And then I had, for a snack yesterday, I had a bag of pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
And then for dinner, I had spaghetti and meatballs.
Okay.
And I had some garlic bread, too. So I love garlic bread.
Oh, yeah, I love garlic bread. I think that's what added my freshman 15. Okay, I have these handouts, and what they are, see here it says unsafe gluten. These are things that you're going to see on the ingredients lists that are actually just different names for gluten, and that you probably or things that contain gluten that you'll stay away from.
Okay.
So there's that, and we'll just keep this handy. We'll just put that right there. And then this is a list of everything that is gluten-free and that's safe.
Okay.
So, it's a lot of things. A lot of it's chemistry-based names, but for the most part, it's some kind of oats, beans, things like that. Like, and it lists all these different beans. You have lentils, but like it just goes through and it names a bunch of things that you can't have. So let's look at your 24-hour recall, and we'll go through and we'll find like where gluten is and things like that. And then we'll just maybe try and find something through here that you like that we can maybe like substitute it for.
Okay.
So that way you can just kind of see how easy it'll be to substitute for. Okay. So you had eggs and sausage and orange juice for breakfast. Okay. Let's see. I don't see anything. Usually gluten is like wheat products, breads, and sometimes they can hide in things. So you really have to be careful of like the sausage might have some kind of filler in it that contains gluten. And so you might want to just really be careful and read the labeling on it. And a lot of products will say gluten-free, like if they're gluten-free, even on medications. And usually a gluten-free symbol will be on it, and they look like this. It's like a no smoking sign. And then with like the wheat stalks that you can look for. That's a really rough drawing, but I can email you like a picture of it if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
But a lot of food products have actually come out and have started to really label really well with things like that. And did you say you were in college?
Yeah, right? I'm a junior in college.
Okay, awesome. How's that going?
It's going good. I'm kind of already ready to graduate, but I still have a couple more years left, so I guess I'll just get used to it for a little while.
Yeah. It'll be easy, especially a junior. Are you still living in the dorms?
No, I have my own apartment. I live with a roommate, so.
Okay. And that's easier. Like, do you usually cook for yourself? Or?
Yeah, I try not to get too much fast food. You know, I still eat on campus sometimes, but not too much.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it'll be really easy, like, if you cook for yourself and, like, take your own lunches and things like that. But, let's get back to the 24-hour recall.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no.
Okay, so let's look at your lunch now. Chick-fil-A sandwich. So what do you think has gluten?
Probably the bread.
The bread, yeah. So let's see if there's something. A lot of the times they'll make like these gluten-free breads. Like they're just made out of like rice flour or things like that you could do. Like if you'd want to bring it with you and maybe like instead of having the buns that come with the sandwich, you could just bring your own bread and you could use your own.
Do you think the breading has gluten in it, like the chicken breading?
Oh, yeah. Okay. It probably does.
Okay.
You're probably
so
right.
probably like if I really want Chick-fil-A to get like just that grilled chicken piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even a lot of fast food restaurants will have online, they'll have menus of gluten-free items that they might have, or like they'll have allergy booklets behind the counter that you can ask to see, and then you can make choices that way, which will make it easier. And a lot of the times, if you choose, like if you look online for their menus and then go to the restaurant, it's a lot easier, like to know what to get before you go.
Yeah.
So that's an idea. Okay. So your bag of pretzels, that's definitely gonna contain your gluten and things like that. Is there a different snack that you might want to do, like fruits and vegetables?
Yeah, I really like apples. So, I mean, so fruits don't really have gluten in them, really. Okay. So, but what about like peanut butter?
Peanut butter, it depends on the kind.
Okay.
Sometimes you just have to make sure to look
on
for.
the label.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually here, let's see if it says anywhere. It doesn't list it, so I would just, peanuts. It says peanut and peanut flour. So I would just be careful with that, like just to check. And maybe if you just did like a peanut butter, like you'll see like the grinders, like they'll make their own. So at grocery stores, I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. But I mean, that's something you could do since you know exactly what's going into it.
Yeah.
And then for dinner, you had spaghetti and meatballs and garlic bread. Okay, so definitely the spaghetti has gluten in it, and as well as the gluten bread or the garlic bread. So, but like I said before, like you can get gluten-free bread. You can make your own kind of garlic bread. Pasta, I'm sure there are gluten-free types of pasta. You could do like a rice noodles or things like that if you would want to do that.
Okay.
And then again, like just the meatballs might have like breadcrumbs in them again. Like it's one of those things where you're gonna have to be like a really good food detective.
Okay.
Like just to find it.
So just read every label.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. You're gonna be reading labels left and right, and so like you know what a food label looks like. So, but it's gonna be like your ingredients are gonna be listed down here, and it's gonna like give them all. But this is gonna be really helpful, so that way you know like what you can eat, like just to run through here, and like look through them, and you really know like safe things to eat. But there's also
a lot of different things too that I don't.
Oh yeah, I know.
Well, I love rice, so
Yeah.
Like wild rice, and then yogurt is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be good for breakfast and stuff. If I don't get to have the sausage every time.
Yeah, and that'll bring in the protein too, like through yogurt and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it'll be, you'll just look through here and what you like. I mean, and there are a ton of different companies coming out with like gluten-free products and things like that. There's actually, on the celiac organization, there's a huge community, but they have a whole list of things that you can look at, and it has listed tons and tons of people who have like baking mixes that are gluten-free and things like that.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of, if it's anything, it's at least people are being more aware of it now.
Yeah, absolutely. People are even like choosing gluten-free diets as a way to lose weight, which isn't always something that will work because sometimes gluten-free foods are supplemented with like extra vitamins and things like that, and a lot of the times there are a lot of different ingredients that aren't, since they don't have gluten, but like they have more calories and things like that.
Okay.
So, but you don't need to worry about that. But anyway, with celiac disease, we want to make sure that you're getting enough vitamins and things like that, because you can easily run a risk of a deficiency because the small intestine is where celiac disease is, and that's also where you absorb most of your vitamins and minerals. So we'll definitely want to make sure that you're taking like a multivitamin and getting your well-balanced diet where you're getting all of these vitamins and things like that.
Okay.
So that way you're going to be healthy and things like that.
Okay. Do you recommend a specific type of vitamin?
Just a multivitamin.
Just a multivitamin. Okay.
Whichever one is up to you, pretty much. I mean, I'm not leave you in control with that.
Okay.
But this is something that I found that you might be interested in. It's a 3-step process. Pretty much, it's about celiac disease and like things that you should do if you've just been diagnosed. You're going to begin like with self-management, and it's going to help the healing immediately. And something you really want to do whenever you've just been diagnosed is to make risk-free choices, so that way you don't get the irritation. And just to make sure that you know what foods are gluten-free and to go ahead and do that. But like eliminating like all gluten. Some oats are gluten-free. You just have to be really careful with that. But that's a grain that you could easily incorporate in.
Okay.
But it also has things like making sure that something that'll help is to keep lists, like this one that I printed out for you, and to just know like what you can eat. That'll really help. But then like, you know, just to know what you can and can't eat, what you can and can't drink. Supplements also, like whenever I was talking about that multivitamin, like make sure that it says gluten-free.
Okay.
Because a lot of the binders and like coatings and things like that will like have some kind of gluten. Yeah, it's a tricky thing to spot sometimes. But yeah, and then just like label reading, knowing those hidden sources, cross-contamination with gluten, like even like maybe what I said with the Chick-fil-A wasn't the greatest idea because, I mean, those sandwich buns had already been on the chicken, and so that definitely probably was not a good idea. But just to be careful, like especially like you said you had a roommate. Okay, just make sure that they're careful not to get like leave breadcrumbs or things like that, because you don't know like how much is gonna trigger that in your intestine.
Okay.
But then you might want to join a support group. It would be a great idea, just because to get to know people in the area that actually know what you're going through and how you're feeling, and you can actually draw on them from a good source of courage and things like that, and they'll be able to help you. But,
yeah.
Does that sound like something you'd want to do?
No, yeah, I just, I mean, it's just, it's kind of hard wrapping my head around all this, but I definitely, it's probably a good idea to meet people that do have the same thing, and I can learn things from them too. And
absolutely.
That'd be a good, source of support. I agree.
Do you have any other questions so far? Or?
I don't really think so. I just, I want to look, I'll just really look carefully at all the labels, and I'll try to kind of eat stuff that I make myself for a while, and before I venture out into, fast, if I want to go get, something from somewhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad some of that, I know that was a lot of information, so I'm glad that you absorbed all of that. That's awesome. But, yeah, that's pretty much the gist. But, I mean, once you get to know, what to eat and what you can't eat, things like that, then you can go into, the next stage where you can just, you just know everything. And then you'll want to be aware of just, things that are going on. It says here, food labels, what have changed in the manufacturing, things like that. And also make sure that you're just keeping an eye on different things, because with celiac disease, lactose intolerance is also very common. So just keep a note of that. If you notice that your stomach's getting upset whenever you have lactose, which is milk and cheese, your dairy products, pretty much. But there's that. And then the third step is just, they call it the old timer, which it's in a couple of years whenever you're just, you know what you're doing. And I think you'll probably meet a couple of those people, if you go to a support group. I actually know that there's one in Louisville. If you're interested, I can get you that information.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I think they meet every 2 weeks or something like that. It's really awesome. They have a really awesome website. And then this is just a quick guide that you can take home with you about celiac disease, just so you can read up on it and But also, since you are a college student and are you over 21?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you also need to be careful of alcoholic beverages, like beer and anything like that. Cider is good because it's made out of apples, and a lot of times it'll even say gluten-free on the side. They try and do gluten-free for people, and that's a big push these days. But yeah, just be careful. Even liquors, vodka is made from grain and stuff like that, but you can actually drink potato vodka. But I mean, I know it's really random, but I was like, oh.
And they sell those at the regular liquor store and stuff?
Okay,
good.
But just keep that in mind. But and they say that if you don't know what's in it, then it's probably better not to eat it. And if you're friends, going out with friends, I know it will probably be difficult, but I mean, if worse comes to worse, maybe just eat before, eat what you know is gluten-free, and then go out with them and just kind of hang out.
Definitely.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Oh,
I feel like I've learned so much, so just have to read those labels.
So how confident do you think you are that you can just...
I feel pretty confident. I'd say a 9 or something if you had to rank it. You know? I mean, I'm not completely know exactly what I'm looking for yet, but that's a start.
Good.
So.
And you can feel free to contact me, if you have any other questions. If you just are oh, I don't know what to do, just let me know, and I would be more than glad to help you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.